Good evening, I'm your host Camelia and you're watching KiniNews. The constitutional amendment bill aimed at discouraging MPs from switching parties was passed by the Dewan Rakyat this evening, with 209 voting in favor and none against. Meanwhile, 11 MPs were absent. While the voting was carried out smoothly, the debate earlier got heated.
Baling MP Abdul Azeez Abdul Rahim fiercely attacked Pakatan Harapan MPs in Dewan Rakyat today. He accused them of being cowards for not reprimanding Dr Mahathir Mohamad over the collapse of Harapan government in 2020. In his debate over the anti-hopping bill, Azeez claimed that Harapan lawmakers were only making noise in parliament about party hopping issues and blaming others over the collapse of their administration.
Tak pernah sekali berani tegur yang berhormat Langkawi dalam Dewan yang mulia ini kerana kesalahan dan kesilapannya. Kerana telah mengkhianati rakyat, bukan mengkhianati sahabat-sahabat ini. Ini tak penting. This one will come and go. Rakyat tetap akan mengundi di bawah sana. Trust me. Rakyat yang dikhianati. Hari ini berlaku semua ni. Cakanda Suria Petani. Betul atau tidak? Ini berlaku kerana siapa? Kerana Langkawi seorang. Why can't you all stand up and speak out?
Azeez also appeared to be mocking Harapan leaders, including their chairperson Anwar Ibrahim. He said that Umno and BN had resolved that they would be in the opposition for 5 years and were hoping to see Anwar take over from Mahathir as PM. He claimed that his party never had the intention to take over the government before the next general election. However, Azeez had a taste of his own medicine when it was Kulim MP Saifuddin Nasution Ismail's turn to debate the bill. In his speech, Saifuddin made sarcastic remarks about Azeez's bravery in speaking up during the 1MDB scandal, which led to the collapse of the BN government in 2018.
Saya berkenan sangat dengan hujah sahabat saya dari Baling, iaitu berani menegur. Kerana Baling berani menegurlah, maka kita tengok kesannya terhadap skandal rasuah 1MDB yang menyebabkan rakyat tolak Barisan Nasional. 60 tahun Barisan Nasional memerintah. Akhirnya pada bulan Mei 2018 rakyat tolak. Tuan Speaker, apa dia elephant in the room pada momen itu? Apa yang menyebabkan wajah hodoh terpalit kepada negara? Kalau tidak kerana skandal 1MDB. Kalaulah kekuatan, kesungguhan dan keikhlasan Baling menegur pekan pada waktu itu, percayalah Barisan Nasional masih jadi kerajaan.
How do your kids go to school? Probably sent by you all the way to the gate, or by school bus, especially if you're in the Klang Valley. But in KiniNews Sabah, students risk their lives every day.
What you're seeing isn't an obstacle course to train our nation's military personnel. This is a group of students in KiniNews endangering themselves by crossing a river using a pipeline, the result of poor infrastructure in rural Sabah. Posted by a Facebook user, Siti Hafiza Lisa, she stated in a separate post that the village was promised a new bridge to be built by April. However, after 7 months, there have been no signs of construction. Tulit Assemblyperson Flovia Ng, when contacted by News Straits Times, said she was aware of the problem and confirmed there was no bridge in the area. She said she was looking into the matter seriously to ensure the welfare of the people in her constituency. Back in January, images of students of SK Sibuga Besar in Sandakan having to cross a dilapidated suspension bridge to go to school attracted attention on social media, with netizens expressing concern for the safety of the students. The bridge has since been shut down as officers from the Works Department, as well as engineers from the Sandakan City Council, found the bridge to be unsafe for use. On January 13th, a Facebook page called A Corn posted images of primary school students in uniform on a cramped boat without life jackets. The photographs showed more than 20 students from Kampung Pituru Timbang Town in Kota Marudu, Sabah, cramped into the boat to travel to their school at SK Mangkapon Pitas, which is accessible through Sungai Bongkol.
Mahathir's nephew has denied allegations that he received money from UKSB for political funding purposes. He also said the former Prime Minister is not involved.
Dr Mahathir Mohamad's nephew, Rahmat Abu Bakar, has denied allegations that he acted as a middleman for Ultra Kirana Sandiran Berhad's supposed political donation to his uncle. Instead, he said he has cut ties with UKSB after realizing the company was problematic and has returned the money he received as its chairperson and advisor. He said this after former UKSB Administrative Manager David Tan Seong Soon testified in court that the company paid 2.6 million ringgit to Mahathir and Bersatu through Rahmat. However, Rahmat said Tan's claim was false, defamatory and malicious, and he never received that much money from UKSB. In a statement yesterday, he said he was appointed as UKSB's chairperson and advisor on July 13, 2018. In that capacity, he was promised 1.3 million ringgit per month and was offered a 50% stake in the company. He said that was the sum he received in cash. However, he returned the money to UKSB because he had misgivings about its basis. He said he resigned from his UKSB posts on November 14, 2018. He also added that Mahathir is not involved and was unaware of his ties with UKSB. He also said if Tan does not retract his false allegation, he will take the appropriate action. Mahathir has also denied the allegations.
Haras Ibrahim, who started the Anything But Umno movement, may be unwell, but his fighting spirit is undiminished.
Activist Haras Ibrahim is returning to legal practice despite his stage 4 lung cancer. This is because he wants to bring the message that Malaysia was intended to be a secular nation. He will be joining the firm of his fellow lawyer Ashok Kandia and his partners, which will now be known as Haras Ibrahim Kandia Partnership. Haras said his health and the required medical treatments may not allow him to travel the nation to spread two key messages he believes are essential to saving the country. He said the first thing that our history demonstrates that Malayans were intended to be a nation of a single people, all equal, and the creation of Malaysia did not change this. His second message is that Malaya was intended to be a secular nation. In the last 10 years of his legal practice, up to 2010, Haras said he was involved in many cases that dealt with questions on freedom of religion and the jurisdiction of the civil and Sharia courts.
Civil Group Lawyers for Liberty has been fined by a court in Singapore for abusing the system. Here's more.
The Singapore Court of Appeal has ordered Lawyers for Liberty, LFL, to pay legal costs of 3,200 ringgit. This is for abusing the court process in the course of its attempts to halt the execution of two drug traffickers, including Malaysian Pauzi Jafridin. The court ruled that the Malaysian Legal Rights Group had abused the system in filing a criminal motion seeking a review of an earlier decision to uphold the death sentences meted out to Pauzi and Singaporean Roslan Bakar. Straits Times reported that the procedure was not there to be used by private organizations for their own purposes, the court said. It added that LFL's purpose in teaming up with Pauzi and Roslan to become an applicant was intended to obtain publicity for its abolitionist aims. This was in reference to the group's campaign against the death penalty. The court ruled that the motion filed by the duo and LFL resulted in the Singaporean Attorney General incurring unnecessary costs in both proceedings. Lawyer Charles Yeo, who represented Pauzi and Roslan, was also ordered to pay 4,000 Singapore dollars in costs to the Attorney General. The two men were arrested in 2008 and sentenced to death 2 years later on drug trafficking charges. They were originally scheduled to be hanged on February 16, but this was delayed when Yeo filed a criminal motion seeking a review of the Apex Court's decision.
Hoping to catch Thor in cinemas? Well, too bad. It will not be screened in Malaysia.
Marvel Studios' latest blockbuster, Thor: Love and Thunder, will not be screened in Malaysian cinemas. Golden Screen Cinemas, GSC, confirmed this on social media. The movie was initially meant to be screened in Malaysia on July 7th, but this was later postponed until July 21st before being ultimately deferred indefinitely. The reason for the postponement was not given. It is unclear whether the delay was due to commercial reasons or pressure from censors. It should be noted that the movie contains a scene where Chris Hemsworth, who plays Thor, is shown naked from behind. Malaysia is not the only country that has an issue with the film. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the movie appears to be languishing in China's censorship process.
Pakatan Nasional is looking to meet Ismail Sabri because they're unhappy the Prime Minister hasn't kept all his promises.
Pakatan Nasional has expressed its disappointment with Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob. PN Secretary General Hamzah Zainuddin said this is over the failure to fulfill certain terms in the agreement previously struck between the coalition and Ismail Sabri. Hamzah revealed that the coalition would be sending a delegation to meet with the Prime Minister to discuss the implementation of the agreement's terms. The PN statement comes shortly after a recent revelation that Ismail Sabri had signed an agreement with PN prior to his appointment as the 9th Prime Minister last August. It is understood that Bersatu, a key party within the coalition, had been promised a Deputy Prime Minister's post in the cabinet lineup. This statement was released today by the PN shortly after the party's Supreme Council meeting yesterday. Earlier this month, Muhyiddin confirmed that he recently met Ismail Sabri to discuss new cabinet appointments for Bersatu. This comes after Plantation and Commodities Minister Zuraida Kamarudin moved to Parti Bangsa Malaysia. Muhyiddin at the time revealed that his requests to Ismail Sabri were made based on their prior agreement. This included the position of Deputy Prime Minister.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Camelia. Thanks for watching.